back there.
Since we are,
Is that
yes sir, yes it is, since we're televised.
flags back that way?
Call this meeting to,
Flags at the back of the room.
where is it? Oh, it's back to back. Okay, I better, lower my knee. Okay. All right, we're gonna call the meeting to order. Sorry about that, guys. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we've got a lot of board meeting minutes to approve. They're kind of grouped together, so we need a motion for approval of the minutes of September 22nd regular board meeting, September 28th, October 1st, and October 6th special board meetings.
Will we
Should move
approve?
that mic closer to you.
I shall.
That way people can,
Got
it
one.
won't help out there, but it'll help online.
You got it. I think Harry has moved.
Will we approve all?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. We need the approval of electronic communication, September 28th, 2020. Have you guys all seen that? Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. My ink pen. All right. Next up, approval of October bills totaling $1,150,554.71. And you should have received some updates to that from Linda. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion for
That was it?
Eddie.
Yeah. And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Questions, comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Finally have my ink pen, I am ready to rock. Approval of professional development program review.
Finance reports.
Oh, thank you. I was not ready to rock with my ink pen. Okay, approval of the monthly finance reports. Need a motion for that.
motion.
Eddie.
Ed, any second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion, questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, now we've got the professional development program review. Do you want to move to approve this? And I'll check for any discussion. Do I have any motion to approve it?
Trying to.
There is,
So moved.
that was Matt, I think. Any second?
Second.
All right, I've got one question about it. Is Jenna here? Hi. So I saw a reference in there to CSIP. Aren't we switching over to the strategic plan?
Yes, and so if there was something on CSIP, that's I apologize. I need to make that revision because we do have new goals that
Okay.
you guys have approved. So that's probably an error in my part.
Cool.
And I make those changes.
Okay, I wanted to make sure about, go ahead.
I was just going to, I want to apologize because Gina and I both been editing that document. We must have just missed out got the CSIP in there. I apologize. I don't want you to take full blame. We both been working on that document.
That's okay.
So it's the two of us.
And I am not here to pillory anyone. I just wanted to make sure that I had not lost my mind. Okay. Okay.
I apologize because, but our new professional development requests do have the updated goals that we have, and so I will fix that.
Sure. Sounds fine. Okay. Any further discussion? Questions?
Call the question.
All right, all those in favor of approving the professional development program review?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and now we need to move the adoption of the regular agenda. We have some changes to it. Let's see, under new business, we need to add a space for item D. And Matt, how do we want to call this? Is it
But
purifier
air
bid?
purifiers, CARES money, I mean, that's,
We're approving, well, we're looking at bids, right? We're going to approve? Yeah, okay, so it will be an action item, right? Under new, oh, did I say item D? I meant B. My apologies, under new business. B as in boy,
yeah.
under new business. I was looking at the wrong spot. Air purifier bid, and it is, that's right, action. There might have been a couple of other updates that got tossed out to me in email. Let me pause and make sure I'm not missing any other additions to the agenda. I think that's it. Okey doke.
Move to accept the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Excellent. All right. Then we need to move to public comments. We do have a public comment from Adam Evans. And Mr. Evans, I have you for 5 minutes. I shall set my timer. Is Mr. Evans here? Oh, hi. Hi. I just assumed you were, yeah, we don't have a microphone over there.
Yeah, it's right there. Mic's right there.
You do? I just don't see it.
It's on the podium.
Ah,
If you hold it on for a second, it'll light up.
thank you.
Yeah, green.
And just let me know when you're ready. And I'll give you a warning when you've got a minute left.
I'm ready when you're ready.
You're on.
Okay.
There's no speaker in here, it'll just go to the camera, so you're good.
Okay, perfect. First of all, I want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Adam Evans. I've been in lawn care business about approximately since 2016. I've been doing it a lot longer than that, but just for myself since 2016. I service several areas around the town as far as Cargill Meat Solutions, Exchange Bank of Marshall, Fastenal, Ryback, Center for Human Services. I also service Multiman School in that school district. I came tonight, I wanted to speak on my behalf. Approximately 3 years ago, I bid on the schools. I wasn't able to secure that bid. I felt like maybe I wasn't known. I was just kind of getting started as far as being my own business, but I wanted to come tonight and kind of explain myself a little bit more. I passed around a pamphlet that kind of shows and reviews the bid that I had submitted, as well as a two-sided pamphlet just kind of letting you know some of the other businesses and or services that I also provide. Like I said, I've been in business since 2016, servicing several different areas around the town. We also travel to Columbia one day a week and service all the Columbia Housing Authority. So I would be really anxious and honored to be able to provide the services for the Marshall Public Schools for the next 3 years. I would like to also say that not only do I want to take care of the schools as far as the grass and lawn care goes, but I have also given back. I've went to Marshall Public Schools my entire life. I'm 31 years old now. I also give back as far as I coached the Marshall Youth Wrestling Club for approximately 5 years. And for the last 4 years, I've been coaching the Marshall Youth football team, the 5th and 6th grade. Not to mention we were the league champions last year, and we secured that same thing on Saturday this year. So we were back-to-back champions. So anyway, I just wanted to introduce myself, and I would be honored to be able to secure that bid for the next 3 years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Adam.
Okay, moving right along, it's time for our Assistant Superintendent report, so we'll welcome Dr. Lorenz.
Just a couple of highlights. The board got this whole packet out there. I won't bore you to death with a bunch of different things. I'll just make sure I touch base with him about some things that I've added since I sent your report. I've been working with with our lawyer on the fiber contract. That has been quite a laborious back and forth. This young company is really taxing my last nerve about getting the wording down on what this contract looks like. We're getting closer. I thought I was gonna have an answer for you tonight. It's all about the contract, it's not about the money. They're just trying to skirt some issues of indemnity and liability, and we're just not having it. They're gonna have to cover what they say they're gonna cover. We're given a little bit in terms of something that Dig-Right might not find, like a water line or something we have around the property that we wouldn't expect them to know. I am giving in on that, but as far as everything else, so anyway, I'll have enough. As soon as I get that, I expect that to be before the next board meeting, so as soon as I get it, I'll let you know. The IA HVAC has been installed. The gate out at the sports complex has been installed, as well as the emergency siren out there. Chief Day's got that put in. Chief Day inquired about, and we don't have to give an answer tonight because he doesn't have 100% sure this is going to happen, but he's trying to get a communication sign on 65 somewhere, and he asked us about the possibility of just off of the right-of-way of 65, just onto our property. Sounded like back behind the stadium somewhere, possibly there, if you looked at the backside of the stadium, possibly to the left of it where it flattens out just a little bit, about putting a communication sign approximately 6 foot by 3 foot, not advertisement, not political ads, just communication in case of emergencies. And he said if it was on our property, we could post simple messages like homecoming Friday night or things like that, but it's not an advertisement piece, it's not a political ad piece. I told him I'd get your thoughts on it, and then if he's able to secure it, we can move forward.
What's the cost to the district?
No cost to us.
That's even better.
Yeah. All he needs is a place to put it and power. So we'd have to put it close to a pole out there that would allow him power. And
So you're thinking north side or south side? Is it closer to the north or the south? I'm sorry, I'm a north.
South.
I'm a north, southeast, west girl.
I'm directionally challenged, so I'm going to say that's the north side.
This is south.
Towards the Career Center side.
So
Okay,
north.
so on the north side.
And so my only thought when I went out and looked at it, I meant to take a picture and show you, but you guys have seen it. I didn't want to get it too close to the Career Center sign, so people would be bogged down by that and bogged by that. But I think if you look, when you drive by there, the next time you get a chance, and if you have thoughts tonight, or if you want to just email them your thoughts, yes or no, you're okay with it. But I'm thinking try to keep back away from our Career Center sign. They can read the CD, whatever sign this communication is for safety, and then they have time and they can still see the Career Center sign. So
This was the police chief?
No,
Chief
emergency
Day, the fire.
services.
She's trying to get a grant for
And
several of these
emergency
communicate. To me, it sounded a lot like those signs you see on I-70, only not nearly that big a scale. This is the more.
Yeah,
He said politically, the most it might say would be vote today, but it wouldn't be anything they're using to advertise for anybody, public office or anything like that. It's mostly probably warnings, CDC got things, or fire safety warnings. So
Do we need any sort of MOU for the land use?
Say
Or
again?
do we need any sort of MOU that indicates?
I'll have to talk to him about that.
Okay.
We have had that we've done that before with them on peace, so if you think that you want us to move forward and he gets it, he hasn't got it, he hasn't secured it yet, but if you think it's an okay proposition and he gets the grant, him and I will sit down and work on an MOU.
He's a pretty thoughtful guy, and if he thinks that it's a good location for it, it probably is.
But we would have to get the power,
That's the
Maintenance
next
can do
question.
that.
Yeah.
so
I'm
could that
gonna-
be included in his grant?
And that's-
Yeah, I don't think there, I was under the impression it was zero cost to us.
Okay,
I'll double check that.
that would be great.
Zero cost to us.
And I mean, he'll just
We
have
don't
to.
have the money to do it.
Right. Well, and
that.
we'll just have to know we'll have to get down to the nitty gritty of it, nuts and bolts of, what running power to this will look like and what kind of schedule we'll want that on. But, yeah.
How much electricity does
So is anybody, it sounds like you're in favor of it if he gets the grant? Anybody opposed to it?
I think being,
I will,
I'm good.
I'll give you an
I would
update
like
on
to
that
have all the
before we-
details,
I'm
but
sorry.
I would like to have all the
Yeah.
details, but definitely it sounds like something I'd
Okay.
be interested in.
I will tell him we're interested in moving forward, and then we'll find out from him after he secures the grant.
I'm assuming if it's just coming off a pole, it could be metered.
I
right
believe
there.
so.
It wouldn't affect us at all.
It shouldn't, and he should be able to pick up the meter out of the grant. So I got that on my notes to ask him, so I'll make sure about that too. But if it moves forward past the winning of the grant, I will pass that information on to you. Let's see. Out here at Spainhauer, we have a meeting actually tomorrow. We've already done a final punch list. We've got a couple of items that we're going to be specifically looking at tomorrow, but we're closing in on the kitchen addition in there getting complete. The weather kind of turned. They were trying to get the stucco on the outside, but sheetrock's done on the inside, ready to be painted. Wouldn't be long after that, the floor will be on, and we'll be moving in there. So the only roof work left to do is a little bit of trim on the kitchen area out here. I've been working with the leadership team out here on the playground that's going to be right in this area that's been dug up. That was a part of the project. I asked Renee to secure 3 bids. She came up with a bid that the leadership team out here with the playground team was happy with. It's a very competitive bid. I worked with the installer. They're in another town right now, but I'm hoping to see them as early as next week.
that's good
I
news.
told them the sooner the better back here because this is a swamp.
I think you said Excelsior.
Excelsior Springs is where they're at. And
Oh.
so, and Renee found out today from them, and that they think that if they can get started installing, it's a 2 or 3 week project. This is a.
It was there. It was there. I saw it
There
there.
it comes.
I have to,
Anyway, and we'll come back to that. You can see it here in just a second, but she did tell me there's color choices, and the picture that you saw up there was just a sample. They're planning on doing in red, black, and grays for the mat. So red, I think she said black poles, red plastic, and gray mats. So hopefully that'll be starting soon.
and so she had secured those bids. You were just giving me a little bit of information about
Yes.
that it was still well within the project budget.
Correct. We were
And
inside the
so-
project budget, and it was a part of the project, so, but we still have to get 3 bids to make sure we're being competitive, and it was a very competitive bid, so. I think COVID might have had something to do with it. There was some money taken off, and there was a 50% reduction in pieces of it if we get it applied and move forward to them before October 30th, and that was a COVID piece, so I don't know.
Wow, that's amazing.
Something COVID with early childhood, so that was one of the reasons why the bid came in so low.
Cool.
What do you got?
We're trying to get them.
Okay, just a quick update. We got 1,700 Chromebooks in and installed. The tech department got it installed within 6 days. They had quite a crew in Benton. They had the whole gymnasium full of pallets of Chromebooks getting them installed. The access control out here is just about complete. It's some of it is complete. I don't have the cards and the touchpads yet for the teachers, but that's coming pretty quickly. From the distribution side, Troy just wanted me to mention that he gave an explanation to you in the email about the K95 and the KN95 masks, where the KN95s were, the N95 masks were what was in shortage, but the KN95 is the same. It's just produced one here and one in China. He got 200 in today of the KN95s. Got another from Desi. Desi gave out another 5,500 cloth face masks and another 1,000 youth face masks. We got a substantial stock of hand sanitizer, over 40 gallons, because we're having a little problem getting hand soap. We may be getting more pump bottles till they get caught up on that. Most of that's on and on.
Did you want the picture of the playground?
Yeah, I'll get it. That's probably more exciting news than me. I can tell you.
That is exciting news. That piece of
The maintenance side,
That's amazing.
yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be, the side you see facing on the picture is probably going to be inverted and turned so you can see it out this window. The back side doesn't look as nice, so it'll be facing forward. Let's see. Maintenance, we had to remove and install a new stove at Beaker. We finished the installation of bottled water fillers at Beaker, the high school in Northwest. Now everybody has at least one bottle filler, which was part of the requirement with COVID to not be drinking straight from the fountain. They added electrical outlets back here in the rooms to make sure we can get smart boards added back up in here. In transportation, they remodeled the bathroom out at the shop. They're working on TransFinder, the new tracking software. We're kind of excited about bringing that on board, so hoping that'll make our operation easier. They got 3 cars placed at the larger schools for transporting sick children home, and Randy's going to transport those from the other schools that need it. Also passing along that for the 7th year in a row, through the hard work of Vicente primarily and Craig also, we hit the 90% Fleet Excellence Award from DESE, which is pretty remarkable considering the age of our fleet. We had 31 buses. Only one bus had a minor issue that was fixed on the spot. So we're pretty happy about that. We're working on updating the buses. We were scheduled to do that again, another round until COVID smacked us. But as soon as we level off and we get away from those scary digits that you saw earlier, we'll be back on track again to get back on pace with that. So, and that's what I have, I believe. Yes, any questions?
What's underneath the mats? Is it rubber?
It is a, I don't want to call it bio because it's not bio. It is a, they name it, it's not called mulch. It is but it's like mulch, but it lasts longer than mulch.
Does our maintenance have to do anything to prepare that?
No, that comes in this bid, which was even more remarkable. The installation comes, that includes the price of, that whole area out there will be edged with timber, but synthetic timber. There'll be a mat or a ramp that comes, they'll exit and enter from this sidewalk right over here, and there'll be a ADA ramp that'll get you right to this material that's on, that surface on. And insurance, we have to have 10 to 12 inches of any kind of fill underneath any kind of swing set or slide, and that's the reason why it's so deep out there. And I'm nervous because this place draws so much water when it rains that I told the installers as soon as they can get because they're putting drain tile in here also. So the only thing that's not on the bid that I'm buying, it probably cost me $400 or $500, is we're going to put 2 inches of 3/4 clean gravel on top of the drain tile and the whole surface. Then they'll put a mat down over that, and then they'll put this fiber stuff, and that's to keep the fiber stuff from stopping up the drain tile. So that's the only thing outside of that I'm picking up.
So the fiber, to replace it, our maintenance men would have to do that, and what is the cost?
In the future?
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have to add.
And how long does it last before you have to replace
They told
that?
me 10 years.
Okay.
So that's what the guy said. Usually your mulch material, 5-6 years, you start seeing deterioration. You have to add on top of it. He told me that they've gotten as much as 10 years out of this material. So it's a treated. I'm still trying to find the name of it. It's in here.
Roundup tire?
No, it's not tire. It's not any kind of rubber. It is a. He just doesn't list it on here. He talked about it specifically to me.
That's fine.
Yeah.
There it is. IPEMA certified mulch.
Okay.
It is some sort of certified treated mulch that's not of the same nature. He said a lot of times your mulch is just old trees and pallets. This is not that. This is a different ground up material. But yes, in the future, any shortage on that we would have to, which we do every year anyway. It would just be buying it from a different buyer. Any other questions?
Oh, that's all, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we'll move on to the superintendent report.
Oh, do I need to bring you back over? Hold on, I'll bring you back over. Eventually, we're going to have our technology figured out here when we get it all installed. And it will be this weekly drug.
What'd you say?
You know,
Thank you.
Yeah, it should stop in a minute. If it doesn't, I'll shut it off.
I did have a nice little intimate group for our budget workshop, or our school finance workshop. So I wanted to show the entire board some of the things that we talked about in our workshop that is impacting our budget pretty significantly. So I do want to give you the warning up front that, sorry, I'm gonna, I'll move back so you can always see. What I'm gonna show you represents the worst case scenario of our revenues, because we are, of course, we have lost revenues because of the crisis, and it's kind of up in the air as to state funding and federal funding. We are hopeful that for the CARES grant, it is due October the 30th, so we're very hopeful for those and hopeful for federal stimulus money. We'll see how that goes. But for right now, we've looked at an increase in our taxes, our tax revenue from our local money. Our current taxes are predicted to be at $5,295,554. With delinquent taxes, usually you collect all your taxes in December, sometimes the first couple of weeks in January. The delinquent taxes you collect when people need to buy their license for their car. So there is usually some delinquent taxes that we have to figure in. I try to figure at 97-98% return on our taxes, and then some delinquent taxes. But our total property tax has increased this year. Our valuation increased. The district's valuation did increase by a couple $1 million this year. So that was good news for us. We will see what kind of returns we get. It's still up in the air as to how the crisis is going to affect everyone and their ability to pay their taxes. So other local revenues that we are looking forward to receiving, I've always told you that I'm very conservative when I build a budget, and I underestimate our revenues and overestimate our expenditures, so that I will try not to overspend. For example, Prop C is our sales tax that we receive from our local sales. Last year, we actually received $2,616,970. I put $2 million in our budget this year. I don't know. I would think that spending would be reduced somehow. I don't know that, but I did look very conservatively at that. Our fines and forfeitures. If you get a speeding ticket in our district, you need to get a speeding ticket in Saline County, not in Cooper County or in Pettis County, because the money does come to our school district for fines and forfeitures. So last year, we usually collect around $300,000, $400,000 in fines and forfeitures. It was way down last year, and somebody said earlier, well, that's because people stayed home, and I guess so. So I am predicting a $160,000 revenue. Last year, we actually received $160,260. We received last year $2,560,000 from the pipeline utilities. That money then, I have no idea what oil prices will do. So, some experts say that oil is going to crash out and bottom out. Some say it's going to really peak. So I tried to be very conservative. Last year we collected $2,560,000, as I said. I budgeted for $2,500,000 this year.
So our total revenues this year as compared to last are down by $590,000, a little bit over that actually. And as we look towards our expenditures then, here you can see the actual percentages of the expenditures, the areas that we spend in. Actually, in instruction, we spend about 54% on instruction. And on our support services, then we spend another 17%. That's money that goes directly to kids learning. There are other things that we have to keep the school moving, to keep the school going, facilities and maintenance. We have to have our transportation, our food service, etc. But the vast amount of money goes to, of course, directly where kids are impacted.
Dr. Mayer, I hate to waylay you. Can you say a little bit more about what's included in instruction, since it takes up such a large part of the budget?
Sure, and instruction is teacher salaries. And it also is classroom aid salaries, benefits, etc. Then it is textbook money. It is, if technology is going into the classroom, it's that money. So it's really anything that is in the classroom or it is related to in the classroom.
Curriculum, teaching, sort of textbooks.
So support services, things like counseling, social work, all of our at-risk programs, those types of things are in our support services. So that was a good question. All of our expenses are not noted here. This is kind of a rough breakdown as to what is spent on in our budget. But you can see the 16 million is an instruction that goes directly to students. We then have this year, you'll notice the big jump here, is because last year we had our first year in the new lease payment. The payment was 550-some thousand and added to our finance charges, etc. And to pay off the other lease purchase, we paid $709,000, 579. This year, we move into the amortization schedule that we're going to be paying every year for the lease purchase, and so this year we are at the 1.18 million mark for finance. You see then that our expenditures add up to $29,613,577, whereas last year we spent $28,394,525. So it doesn't take anyone who has a real accounting degree to figure out that we are looking at a lot more money going out than money coming in, to put very simply. I will send this out. I'll send this PowerPoint out and the one that we had for our school finance, because I know you can't read this. This is pretty small, but it is a table of expenditures for the last 3 years. And you can see down here then that we are increasing, and this is what I told you about back in February or March, that I predicted we would increase our spending by about $1.2 million. And it's a little bit over that. The problem that I didn't realize in February or March was how much that we were going to be impacted by the virus. I don't think any of it. I remember when we sent all of our kids for distance learning, we thought, well, they'll be back in 2 or 3 weeks. That did not happen. So things, and as I told people in the school finance, I'm pretty old and been around a long time and been a superintendent for a long time. This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this. So I don't really have any kind of knowledge to fall back on, I think, like most of us. But I do know that we have a total difference of the 2.9 million that we talked about from an increase from last year. So if we look at our dip in revenues and our increase in expenditures, we're looking at $3.3 million in deficit spending. So that's why I put the caution there that this is the absolute worst scenario. I did not count CARES money. I did not count any new taxes that are coming in. I didn't count what the governor says that they're going to release to the schools. So if that happens, we hope it does not, but if it does, we're looking at a fund balance of about 10%. We haven't been that low for quite a while. I think the year before I got here, the fund balance was at about 12.7, I think. But, like I say, I'm very hopeful and I'm optimistic that we are not going to be down to 10%. It's not the end of the world if you are at a fund balance of 10%. You can build that up as we go and move into the times when we possibly won't be transferring the money that we've been transferring into Fund 4 for the past few years. That's a lot of information. I went through it really, really quickly. So I will send you this presentation. These are the last few slides of what we did before. So I'll send you that whole thing, and if you do have questions, just give me a call. The questions I will probably answer next meeting, because if you have a question, probably a lot of other people are wondering about it too. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Dr. Muir, you had Spain Howard Primary School here and the budget. I just want to make sure we're not.
Thank you for bringing that up. I
Yeah.
did have a little video that I wanted to show you that Mrs. Vaught had put together about this primary school. I would like for her to be here. She couldn't be here this evening. I would like for her to be here. I can't take any of the credit for that. It was all their work, the SPS staff. They did a tremendous job. It's a great video. So with your permission, I'll show that next month when Ms. Vaught can be here.
Sure, okay.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Sure. All right, to the rest of the board, we have received program reports from special ed, curriculum and instruction, CTA, PDC, and data analysis. Do any of us have any follow-up questions? I'm going to sing, as always, the Jeopardy theme song in my head. Give you a second to go back through your notes and recollect.
No, I think it'll be good for us to see some, depending on what you guys and how you guys adjust with quite frankly, the numbers look really good right now. I know we're getting cold, but they look pretty good. It went down again today. And so as you guys work through your return to learn plans with your admins, I'll be anxious to see the success of our kids and how they manage these first few weeks. And going into second quarter, what that's going to look like for them and the changes that we hope we can continue to make, especially for the teachers and the kiddos. And the kids. So
yeah.
And some of these, I would have. It's early, but I just think that the numbers are there. If we could get some of that data and really use the data to sell your case to have kids in school or to be out or whatever we need to be doing. But
yeah, having it be data driven be good.
Yeah, we need to be data driven. But I commend the principals because their reports are all very, very good, very data driven.
Yeah.
I talked about this last month, but I've had a lot of people email me and talk to me about the dashboard, the COVID dashboard.
Yeah.
That is up, available on the school's website. We do remain in orange. That's the question that I get. What is our activity level? We have to go down to 5 to be in a yellow. We were down to about 7.9 today. We kind of creep back up a little bit to about 10.2. But if we get down to 5, we are at the yellow level. So that's what we can look forward to.
Everybody wash your hands. And other things that your mom always told you to do anyway. I wanted to touch on some things in the CTA report. There was item number 3, about bringing back distance learners. And I think the board didn't have any comment about the proposed revision to the Return to Learn plan. So that's a go.
We meet tomorrow, the committee. Brian couldn't be here this evening, but we do meet tomorrow.
And I've got his
4 o'clock.
comments about that, so. But yeah, as pertains to the proposal that's already come to us, to my knowledge, nobody had any comment, question, problem with it. So it's already a go.
Okay, good.
So
The part that I've added, the most recent part was the quarantine section, and I did hear back from the health department, and I heard from Dr. Howe that it was acceptable to them and they thought it was fine,
Okay, so
that it would serve the purpose for what it was intended.
then when that comes to us in proposal form, we'll look forward to seeing it. But as pertains to getting kids back, getting the distance learners back in a more timely fashion. So this has to do with what you were talking about, Ms. Gillespie. I know. That's okay. This has to do with the proposal to get distance learners back in the classroom in a more timely fashion than just switching at semester. That's what I'm talking about, rather than...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. And so we didn't have that proposal that went back and forth between you, me, and Dr. Mayer. I thus forwarded on to the rest of the board. Nobody else on the board had anything to say about it. So our 24 hours have lapsed. It is now back in.
So I can let principals know they can start reaching out to those parents.
By all means, please. Yes, yeah.
And then they will return to learning in Seton on November 2nd. That gives time for transportation, food service, making sure that we have the supplies that those students are going to need, all of those things ready for. And it is only pre-K through 8th grade at this time because of scheduling conflicts in the high school. And so yes, they will be ready. I'm sure principals and teachers will be very excited to hear that and so we can start that back. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, parents never better, right? So I just wanted to make sure that was clear, yeah, so that you guys can start taking action on that. And yeah, CTA understands that it might be difficult at the high school level, but hopefully, like I was saying to Ms. Lance over here, we can find a way to walk and chew gum at the same time. Maybe there's a way forward there. But we leave that in your capable hands. And can I read point number 4 here from your report?
Remind me what we're doing for what?
CTA would like to thank Exchange Bank
Oh, yes, please do.
for their generous donation of $5,500 to teachers at MPS. Money will be distributed to each building. They will be able to decide the best way to use the funds to serve their teachers. Cheers to
I have
CTA.
emailed all the admin and their buildings are busy dreaming and figuring out what we're going to do with that money. So it was an amazing gift and it's really cool.
Ellen has reminded me in the past that we need to be better about thanking the people who are giving us such donations. So that was on my list of things to remember. That's it for me and the program report, extra notes. Anybody else have anything else? Because if not, we're going to move on to old business. A reminder, November's meeting will be Monday, November 23rd. Mark your calendars. Mark your calendars.
We're moving quickly.
Aren't we, though? Hey,
Don't say that.
oh my gosh, Harry.
It's Ellen's turn.
And now,
Lazy.
and now we're going to move forward to the continuation of our facilities review that Ellen has been so kind to put together for us. Ellen, you want to tell us about what the focus will be for this month?
Sorry, I'm putting this in my calendar still. So this month, last month we talked about, well, let me back up even further. So in June, just following the election, a few of us traveled, we took pictures, we visited the buildings. That occurred over about a month's time. Then last month, I brought pictures, just some introductory things, and now every month we're going to bring just some things back up. The goal of this is not as a negative as a negative presentation, but an opportunity for us to see some of our challenges, to visit our buildings, because a lot of us don't get there and see them. And then on top of that, the board wants to build a strategic plan solely based around facilities and what that's really going to look like. And so while these pictures might seem like I have overlooked all the greats, I most certainly have not. I was very excited to see all of the buildings. I was very excited to see something in every building. But I do want to, this is just an opportunity for us to gain some ownership as a board. It's an opportunity for us to say as a board, we see what you're doing, we see what you're having to work with, and we need to try, in the great numbers that Dr. Mayer gave us, to find some money to put towards some of these things. And so we do understand the challenges. We do understand that we've got new equipment and new things. We know the Booster Club has done some nice things. We hope they can continue.
Here.
But we just want to make sure that this is a positive go, and this does not turn into a bash session or an opportunity to be negative. Ian is here from the high school, Mr. Verts, so I encourage you to chime in if there's an opportunity for you to. These are just, I didn't do very many, maybe 15 pictures. We'll zip right through them. So, Dr. Mayer, I'm just going to let you click right through here.
I have a question. When we do this, are the people home able to see the screen?
I have no idea.
Because we can see it here, but
Likely not.
They can't see the screen. I don't know how to fix that.
might
Let's
be
move
more-
right on.
Yeah.
We'll move on. So the first thing I wanted to show was the awesome new doors that come in off of the parking lot at the high school. I didn't take pictures of the parking lot, but that definitely is something that we are going to need to put on our list. The parking lots at the high school for sure are dangerous. There are holes, there are ruts, there are cracks. But these doors went in just following the gymnasium being done. And if you'll remember the old doors, they were hard to manage. These are awesome. So these doors, I want to say this because I don't think I put a picture on. The doors that are, what do you call the north of the Commons? Your little the foyer area. The doors there don't work properly, all of them. Sometimes when you try to get out, they don't open. And so that needs to be a focus on our strategic plan, is doors and safety and kiddos being able to get out when they're supposed to. Go ahead. These, again, I talked about this a little bit last time. I want to encourage the community to help with things that they can. And these are old sewing machines that do not work anymore. And so while we talk about being able, I've seen a lot of communication about teaching kids skills and doing some of those things. That'd be great to be able to do it, and our teachers would, but they don't have equipment that works. And so we are going to have to make that our goal somehow, to get them equipment that works for these kinds of things, like sewing machines, or they have microwaves in there, skillets, things like that they can teach skills with again. Their equipment's just old, and so if there's anybody that ever has a sewing machine or something safe like that they could donate, the school will always take those things as long as they work. We don't want their trash necessarily, but everybody has that kind of equipment. So, okay, so I'm going to use this picture as an example. So in several of the buildings, we have things that our maintenance department has spent hours repairing, and their repairs are no longer working. And so this particular picture is of a broken screen or a window shade, but the window behind it has been repaired 4 times, according to the teacher, and it's not repairable. And so it continues to leak, it continues to be a problem for a classroom. And so I use that picture just as an opportunity to say our maintenance is working, but what they're trying to fix, it's dilapidated so much that they can't fix it anymore. So, and you're going to hear that in the months coming. We have that over several of the buildings. So just things that no longer be fixed. Okay, this kind of overlaps between the high school and the SEC building, but I wanted to use this picture because it seems like we have areas across the district that just become catch-all. I think every business, every house, whatever, we always have those spots, right? But notice all of the cracks and the grass and then all the trash on the other side. Our kids have to walk this area to get to class, back and forth. It's concerning if you have ADA kiddos and all these cracks in the sidewalks and in the pavement. And then again, just the trash that hung out there, that was there most of the summer. You can go. Again, just an opportunity for, we need to take some pride in some things. And as a board, I think that we can set some standards and say, we're not going to leave things that look like this when we go home in the afternoon. Again, we have this across the district, these old trailers that the panels are all blowing off. I don't know if these are still like that, but I'm going to assume that they are still blown up and torn up. You see this from the highway when you drive by. It's just an eyesore. We as a board need to separate ourselves from this kind of thing. Dr. Williams?
Just the PITS classes.
Fixing that? Awesome. So there's several across the district looked at. Wait, so that's why I use that picture. This is right outside of the Commons, right outside the foyer, as Ian said, sorry. And so the kids that want to go outside for lunch when they can, eventually again, this is where they're hanging out. And when it rains and runs right back into this area, and so it's just basically flooding and running right back in. I didn't use that picture, Ian, and I should have, but the water is literally eating away at the concrete and the windowsills across there. And so just better drainage, longer drainage. It's got to go way out because where it drains now, it just floods back there. It's just a wet mess, mossy mess.
This is the front or the back?
So this is,
That's the patio behind the building.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Next to the M, you see
Yeah.
the bricks from the M that's in the center.
I used to hold classes out there.
Okay, so I'm going to use this every time I do a presentation where we have a trailer that we use. We still have trailers that are used, some by students, some by staff. This particular trailer is used by our IC staff. It's their office that's behind the high school. But these boards are all loose and dangerous. These people that walk on these, if we ever have students that go in there or staff, I think it's a huge liability. It's just a concern that we can. Okay, I use this picture because at the very top of that, you can see the water lines. The temperature changes, the water, these doors just seep with running water. And so it's just, I don't know if it's new doors that we need or if we need, I doubt that's can be fixed. It probably needs redone or a new building. Okay, I got my head in. Okay, so this is a good example of just 5 minutes worth of time that I feel like we could take a little pride. That is a bird's nest, but on that is, in that conduit is Ethernet cords. So that's our computer cords, our wiring. And that's just, that blue that you see there in that opening is just, that's our Ethernet cords. That's our wiring that we just decided to put in there, but we didn't cover. That is exact access for birds, rodents, whatever, right into our building. Okay? When we're talking about viruses and things like that, and you're talking about a vinyl or leather chair, and the leather's worn off, and so all you see is the mesh, your viruses live in that right there. And so those are all throughout our high school. So when we're talking about cleaning and sanitizing, you can do all the sanitizing you want, but your germs and your viruses are living right there. Okay. This one speaks for itself. This is, I just showed this picture so you could see what was on the other side of that wood. This is the trailer where the IC team meets. I'm assuming, Diane, you guys have meetings in here. That's what I was told? Yeah.
Meetings and professional development for teachers.
Okay, good. So one side, this is actually just one side of the trailer. This was an example of something that's just been there forever and just needs to be taken down and cleaned up. This is an old dish, probably for internet access and service at some point in time. Those things just need to be put on a hit list and knocked down and moved on and cleaned up, and it's just an eyesore. All right, here's probably the biggest concern at our high school is bathrooms. This particular picture doesn't show it that well because I zoomed in on it a little bit, but this is this is down by the Commons. This is the handicap accessible stall.
This is the bathroom in the science hallway. This is the.
Oh, I'm lying to you. Science hallway. Female bathroom, science hallway. Okay, I'm backwards, Ian. But these stalls are the ADA, supposed to be the ADA stalls. They are not big enough. You cannot get a wheelchair and the adult and the kid in there at the same time. Outside of that, these doors have all shifted. Across the building, they've shifted. So yeah, that's a perfect one to go to. So they've shifted. This is the boys' bathroom in the commons, right? These signs have been on these doors for at least 2 years. So I don't know why we continue to have bathrooms that are out of order. Is it a maintenance issue? Is it something that can't be fixed? But on top of that, I left this picture because these doors have all shifted. And when you go to the bathroom and try to shut the door, sometimes the door will shut, but sometimes you have to push the wall next to you to get the door to shut, so you can even just go to the bathroom with the door closed. So as an adult, I'm concerned with that, but as a kiddo, I'm definitely concerned with that in there through the day. You can go.
Speak to that. Just real
Go ahead. You can stay there, Dr. Mayor. There's a nice guy on that.
quick. Really nice photo.
I know you love it.
That's the female, that's a good angle though. I talked with maintenance, and they have worked on that bathroom multiple times, and the reason why the sign keeps going back is the fix, when they're there, it works, it flushes appropriately, and then after just a little while, it goes back to that. And so that's why the sign's been there for a while. It's not due to, the maintenance issues have been put in through School Dude that we have, the program we have. Matt and his team have worked on that bathroom. But there's issues below the surface that we
can't fix.
That cannot be resolved evidently. So it's been multiple years.
Those stalls weren't designed with doors because they didn't have.
There were no doors on.
Yeah, there were no doors on them when we built the building. They're an after
Even in 2000, I graduated 2000, all through the 90s, there were no doors or dividers in the males' restrooms, locker rooms, or in the regular parts of the building. So
That's weird.
that was our experience. Our experience now is a little bit different. So we have to, we want them to be operational.
Yeah. And again, here's something that they fixed. It's not that Matt and his guys aren't doing it.
Doing
They're
it all-
fixing it. It's all
Doing all the right
it's-
things.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
We're just not getting, I mean, it's just not
That's a
staying
waste.
repaired for them.
It's a waste when they do that and then have to go back and do it again. and
Exactly,
have to go back again.
exactly.
You gotta fix
So
it.
then here's Ian standing in the women's bathroom at the Commons, trying to fit in the stall. It speaks for itself.
I need to lose some weight.
Sorry, I had another picture, but I did not use it for your sake.
Back in.
Okay.
That stall's pretty small.
It is very small. Okay, so this particular picture, Ian, if you can elaborate if you want to. There, you can kind of see there's a shadow, but here again is another issue where it's continually been fixed and it fills up with water. There's a leak of some sort that just does not, it's just not repairable, and it continues to happen. And so it's a safety issue. It's slick, it's wet, it's dangerous.
It's below the urinals in the commons area, restrooms, and the male side, and they have pulled all those off in the past. And I haven't had a significant issue this year, but we haven't had the
Don't have the
level
kids.
of,
Usage.
usage for activities or regular school. Most of the bathrooms in building A are being used now far more because there's not the common
They're not down
space
there.
for students.
Okay. So across the high school, there were several times where we were able to see things that were just simply not clean. And it's not, again, it's not, one of the things that we want to talk about on this is, do we have enough people in these departments? Do we have enough people to maintain and do what we expect and what we want and how we want our facilities to run? We don't have money to do that right now, but that needs to be a goal. This was just an opportunity. This was, there hadn't been kids in the district since March, and this picture was taken late August, mid-August. So, okay. It's just dirt. It's gross. Again, this is just an opportunity for us to talk about cleanliness.
They're gonna get clean, that's new.
It is not. That's a brand new picture. Yeah.
What is that?
That is dirt and grime on a door handle.
We talked about that over the summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just an opportunity. Now, some of that may not come off, but some of it will. And so we just need to, again, do we have the manpower to do it? I know that they're busy, but that needs to be a goal of ours, that we need to make sure that our teachers are cleaning their rooms and sanitizing their rooms, and then The custodians are doing it also, and so there's a lot on their plates.
And do we have
And
enough
so
manpower right now?
regular day-to-day cleaning now, it may be an issue. So, I use this again just because it was in the high school. This is the carpet. It speaks for itself. Okay, so Ian pointed this out to me when I visited. What'd you say, Harry?
Eddie and I are recognizing the carpet from the green.
Ian pointed this out to me when I was there. So you kind of see that little hump in the floor, like not the carpet, but you go towards the the glare. That's where the floor has raised, and it's a hazard. It's a hazard in the middle of in their hallway. Kids stand there. Kids walk there. They actually come from the south, north with their arrows the way they are right now. But that's an opportunity for somebody to fall and really get hurt right there.
What is it?
Ian, what is it?
Do we know?
Okay.
There's some settling or something going on with the foundation of the floor in that area. If you go further north toward the island right there, so that's right in front of where the teacher's lounge area is.
Yeah.
There's a large crack that's raised up underneath the carpet squares, and I believe it's gotten worse over the time since Mr. Peterson put the carpet squares in the building, the gray carpet squares. I think it's gotten worse, but it could just be that the carpet has started to shape to it. I don't know. Our maintenance crew may know more about that piece. But that area that's raised up right there, it has something to do with that type of flooring. But I would say it has to do with the foundation underneath.
Okay. Next. We'll go. Sorry. I just use this as an example. This is just a ceiling tile in the hallway that's been there for several years. This is just an example of what it looks like. So I use this because this is what a brand new teacher, if they come in to see their classroom and when they're hired, this is what's on the wall when they walk into the building. Of course, they're going to cover it up with their creativity, but this is what the underneath looks like. So this is what the foundation of where they're going to work looks like. That's a big deal to me. Maybe it shouldn't be, but I just think that that's how we take care of what they're putting their creativity on.
Which wall is that?
Huh?
Where is that one?
That's in the hallway in the high school on the English side.
It's up from the art room. It's just around the corner from the art rooms and the east hallway on the southeast corner. And that's prior to teachers putting their displays up.
Yep. Again, I wanted to give a shout out for this. This is flipping awesome.
They still do that then, huh?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Purposeful.
This is awesome. It is super awesome. This is John Making's classroom. When school starts, he has them write each other a message about how they think they're great. And then at the end of the quarter or end of semester, they take them down and they read what somebody's written about them and how great they are. This is really a profound thing that I think, this is only one of the great things that our high school teachers do. Ian's got a group of great teachers over there. Again, I didn't put a bunch of pictures of their classrooms in it. Their classrooms they're creative beyond belief. But this gives us an opportunity as a board to set some goals. And it's just the framework and the start of the high school. So that's that.
Okay. So I'm over here taking notes about things, that I'm trying to keep in mind where the next steps for these conversations are going to go, the priorities we're going to need to set. And I'm thinking about things like, do we have enough maintenance workers? How are we going to set standards for, cleanliness and all those sorts of things? How are we as a board taking accountability for that? So that's how I'm thinking about all of this for next steps. So we will look forward to the next presentation.
Next month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions for Ellen?
No. If anybody wants to do that, I'll send you the pictures. No, I actually figured it out. I figured it out, I think.
Okay, well, Ellen, we're going to continue with you over here.
Okay,
with the
surf project.
Update.
So I talked to the Booster Club. The Booster Club is on board.
Yay.
However, the next step is once we get the pledges, or if we use a company and we get the pledges, then somebody's going to have to fund that organization. I've been in contact with a few. I don't know how that's going to go. I'll be totally honest with you. My meeting on whatever day it was, Thursday, Friday, it was Friday, I think. The plan at that point was to maybe not use the organization that I had originally said and try to get the majority of the funding without them. I'm not excited about that. That's a lot of work. I do have a few people in the community that have already spoke up and said they will help, but that's still, I mean, I would have to do that work through the Booster Club still, which is fine. They're perfectly fine with that.
I would challenge the bids that you might get, or the connections they have.
That's going to be the very first thing, is the amount of money that we're going to have to, the amount of money we're going to have to raise is going to go up, because I think, Dr. T, your first bid was like 1.6.
Something like that.
Yeah, and then, you know, the second bid that we got didn't do the asphalt, and it was like 1 million, I think, right around that, 1.1 or so.
It's been a while, but
And then this company's bid was 1.2 with everything blown up and started over, so it's the way to go. But you raise all that money, and then who pays the fees? The Booster Club doesn't want to, you know, they don't have the money to pay the fees, nor would we want them to.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. So I guess I'm coming back tonight to say this. There are a few people in the community that do want to try to raise the money. There is one financial institution in town that has asked for me to give them some time to see what they will do if they're interested in doing any financing for the Booster Club. I really want this to be a Booster Club thing. You know, I want it to be a Booster Club project. They want it to be a Booster Club project. But I don't know. So I guess if we get to December and we don't have any of the money, I've talked to Brock, I've been on the phone with this a lot. I mean, if we get to December, the end of December, and our projections aren't looking good, then we can bring it back to the board and say, okay, we need to put this back on the table for grass. And that'll be a cost, you know, that's a cost that the district's going to have to add back in. Whereas, I mean, I know that the expenses are already in your budget, or in your projections, but my hope was that the $250,000 would go into the track, and then getting this turf, that would save about $30,000 to $50,000 a year on the maintenance that the district's having to use. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I just wanted to be able to update the board so that you all knew kind of where all the moving parts are, and I don't know what's going to happen.
What's the sticking point with using the company that had put in the 1.2 bid?
Well, who's going to pay the fees?
That's it?
The fee, their fee, or
Their
what
fee,
fee?
who's going to pay their fee, and then who's going to finance it if we get the pledges? So if we're going to get the pledges over 5 years, then somebody's going to have to finance that money for 5 years. For a Booster Club that doesn't really have, right?
Yeah.
So that's uncomfortable. The financial organization was flat out, if it was the district, we're on. You'd have that turf going right this minute. That's the situation that we're in. So we're going to have to be creative another way with it, I suppose. But I just kind of wanted to be upfront and out there so that everybody knows what the work is. This would definitely be I don't know.
Wasn't the signing fee, was it $10,000?
$9,500?
$9,500, but then you've got those percentages, like 15% and 10%.
10% over 1.1 million would be our fee.
some of those worried me a little bit.
I mean, you're getting into $100,000 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what can the district do about those fees if it's still a Booster Club run engagement? Can we step in with any of the fees?
No, she's talking about going in a different direction.
No, but I'm saying, can we have our cake and eat it too? Can we pay some of the fees?
It'd be amazing. I don't know how the board feels about that.
Can we donate the money to the Booster Club to get it going? And the only way they continue to do it, because the agreement is if they don't raise it, They don't
then-
spend it.
Right,
And we
that's
get it back, right?
Right.
So if we donate the money from our budget that was set aside to the Booster Club to start the program, the only thing we have is the financing
I still have to
part,
get the financing
but
done.
That makes it
could
easier.
that be the Booster Club's donation to the project, as they pay the fees instead of, using
They
some of
don't
the
have
money
any
that
money.
is
They don't have that money, though.
allocated
The
for
Booster Club doesn't have that money.
the other donations?
Yeah,
I'd like
it's a
to
big
hear
ask.
what Dr. Mayer has to say on that. She knows the most.
So, I didn't hear you, Ed.
I'd like to hear what Dr.
Yeah.
Mayer has to say on that.
Well, I've heard a couple, three things. When you talk about the district making the initial donation to the Booster Club,
Yes.
what kind of money are you talking?
The money that the insurance money that we had set aside, so was it 74?
70.
Oh,
For the field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we would
There it is.
donate that to the Booster Club and that would kickstart the project?
Yeah,
Right.
that was, yeah.
Right. Basically, what has to happen is their initial fees have to be set. Their initial fees have to be set. And then what the goal will be is to get a few people to make some large donations, one-year donations, right? So their finance amount then is less. That would be my goal. So then the finance is less. And those big donations over 5 years, well, I'm talking big money. I mean, we're talking $250,000 for a 30-yard line. But it's over 5 years, so it's much more doable for some people that are interested in that. Not me. But yes, if the district, if we were able to agree to pay that initial startup cost, then the rest is a wash.
So Ellen, you had, sorry.
No, there's a guarantee that that money comes back if they don't reach their goal. Because if,
You were saying that there was a donor or one of your advisors or something that said that they would rather not use the company that you had talked to, correct? They would rather do that work up front themselves.
The only reason he said that was because of the fees.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know where we were going to get the fees from.
Sure. So then, we had set aside the 250, and we had said the 75,000 would be involved somehow in the project. So would that, if the district went ahead and donated that 75,000, then would, and I need to hear what Dr. T has to say,
Yeah.
because he's the one that's done all the
Sure.
work with that, but would that 75,000 go to the fundraising company that you had introduced us to?
Yes. Well, it would be it would go to the Booster Club, and then they would pay for that company.
They'd pay the fee to get
Would
it
they
started.
would they take 5% out of the 70,000 we put in there?
Who?
Well, it's going to be a slightly different arrangement than that.
I don't know what you're asking me, Harry.
They would take, the company would take 10% of the 1.1 million that they raise if
That they raise.
That they raise if they raise
So
it.
if we-
If they don't raise it, then they forfeit.
So here's what I'm saying.
But if we put money in there, like 250 to 70,000, they're not going to get a percentage of that, are they?
No.
All right.
No. So here's the key, and this is why I was shooting December. If a few of us can spend a little bit of time in that core group, we can spend a little time and see how much money we have, then our amount of money that we have to give that company up front to get them rolling is less also, right? So if we already have 500,000 and they only have to raise 500,000, then your fee goes down. But I need to get those.
Yeah.
I want it to be transparent with you all and say, hey, how about we look at it this way and we get a little creative? It's a lot of time, but I think we have some good people on board. That was one of the reasons that when we met Friday, we kind of talked about not using the company and doing that just to save that fee, right?
Right.
And so if we could get that, I don't know.
If the district were willing to open the door by paying the fee,
Yeah.
then that sounds like it would open some
Can
opportunities.
we legally donate like that, the school district?
To the Booster Club?
Right.
I don't think we could donate it, we could allocate it.
We can't donate taxpayer money.
That's what I thought.
So the 75,000, how it's defined, because it's coming from the insurance company. But it is paying us back for what taxpayers paid for. So I would have to call the auditor.
Okay. Yeah, again, I'm not asking for anything in particular tonight. I don't,
So you said earlier that if they didn't make it, do we have assurance in writing that we
Yes.
get because if they don't make it and we're back to sod, that's where the 75,000 comes from.
yes, no, we have a contract that's already been to the attorney with all of that language in it.
And in that, by making it, we're saying the only outlay we would have would be the 75,000, at least up front, from the insurance payment. They would be raising the entire rest of the.
Yes, but here's the thing. My opinion is this, if we're going to spend that 75,000, we're going to know that it's done.
We're going to know that's done.
We're going to know that we can raise the rest of it.
Oh.
You with me?
Yeah.
I don't think that we spend unwisely. I don't think that we,
Try to throw good money after bad?
yeah, no. I mean, we're not going to cut our neck to spite our throat to just to see this.
I mean, if the auditor if the auditor thinks that we can directly make that payment from that insurance money, and we can get assurance that if they don't make it to our specification for the entire project, and that money, the entirety of that money forfeits back, then we've got nothing to lose for trying. But if they won't agree to that entirely, which is the entire amount of money, because if they don't make it, we'll have to take that 75 and use for sod.
Yeah. And so we also talked about having somebody pay like there's a marketing fee, that's included in that amount. And so if we could get somebody to pay those things, they might not be able to give to the whole great big project, but they could give to those pieces. Again, there's an astronomical number of pieces here that have kind of fallen out. This is not uncommon in raising money. I mean, it's a plan. I think, Dr. Mayor, if you'll look into that, again, I'm not signing up for anything until we'd have to have 85. In my opinion, if we're going to raise part of the money, then I think we raise 85,000 or 85% of it. And if we're at the end and we're like, whew, we can't make it, then that's when we would say, let's use them.
Okay.
That's my opinion at this minute. It's a lot of work. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a lot.
I like this.
So it will take the diligence of a lot of our community members, and it'll take a commitment of several businesses and families in this community over several years.
It would be nice to see them step forward like that.
It would.
I think it would.
The other side of that, and Harry, this comes back to you talking about the money that the district set aside for the track. One of the things that was said to me Friday was, I'm not interested if the school's not putting anything in this time. And so I think that it would do our due diligence in saying, Dr. Mayor, Dr. T, the previous boards, they've said that money is set aside for the track. I think that we do it. I've talked to several teachers. I haven't talked directly to the CTA, but I've talked to several teachers. They all know and have heard millions of times that money's set aside for that. So I think that we can get creative. I just want to be transparent and let everybody know that it's working. I just don't know how quickly. My plan will come back with a report in December, and we'll kind of see how it's going.
Makes sense.
I think that's plenty of time then to move one direction or the other.
So we should expect another update in November?
Or December. I don't need to take your time necessarily in November unless I give up and I say, I'm not doing it anymore.
So Ellen, when you bring your information back, is it going to be information that you're going to try to get to see if you're ready to contact the company? I forgot the name of the company.
ASP. ASP.
It's work that's going to be on the front end of contacting ASP to see if it's...
Yes. My goal would be, again, to see if we can get to how close to 85% of the project we can get done, and then go from there. One of the things that the Booster Club, they were adamant that they wanted some sort of MOU with us to, give back. And
our attorney was kind of feeling an MOU.
And so that was one of the recommendations I had with them. And so if we can keep it separate, then great. I do know that there'll be money that the district has to put in, and, I mean, that might just, however you have to make that payment's great and fine. I think that we need to maintain that for sure. Especially, we need to have that in our pocket if we're going to be going out to people, and we can say that, a quarter of it is coming from the district. I think that's a huge, huge deal. So, okay.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, next up, we have an update from Mr. Jakes, who is not here. I have something on his behalf. An update on the Returning to Learning Working Group. He sends the following information. The R2L committee is being chaired by Dr. Mayer and Mr. Jakes. We have SCHD, Dr. Haug, peace be upon all of them, Ellen Lance, and a cross-section of staff from MPS. We will have the first meeting tomorrow, that's 10/21, at 4 p.m. via Google Meets. Should last about an hour, looking at issues facing the district in terms of the Returning to Learning plan, community and upcoming trends that SCHD and Fitzgibbon are aware of that may necessitate a change in the R2L plan, if known, and any other group discussion that might come up. He'll be trying to meet the second week of the month so that issues in board meetings and from the district regarding the R2L plan can be readied for that upcoming meeting and then reported at the next BOE meeting. So that is the update that I have from him. Questions, comments?
Thank you, Brian.
Yes, warm sentiments to send forward. There we have it. Okay. And last up in old business, approval of amendments. So here we are talking about our budget.
The budget packet that I sent to you I think I sent to you Wednesday evening. At the end of the packet were all the expenditures from that are budgeted this year as compared to the 2 previous years. So those are the budget amendments that I'm asking for approval. So you got that last Wednesday.
Yes. Here we go.
Really, in all this email.
Scrolling.
It's about 85 pages, so I didn't expect you to
Oh, I didn't get that.
look through all.
Yeah, I see it, yeah.
Okay. We can have motions. We can start with discussion either way. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Oh my gosh, numbers.
Above my pay grade.
Dr. Mayer, any other comments or statements you want to make about the amendments?
I will be making other amendments, probably in January and again in April.
Yeah.
I would imagine. Hopefully, in January, we'll have a better grasp on our local property tax and if there is CARES, federal money, etc.
Okay.
So I hope to paint a brighter picture at that time.
Yeah.
I hope you do too.
What action do we have to take?
We need to approve the amendments to the budget. The language here is just approval of amendments, so I would add budget for specificity. Do we have any motion or further discussion? There we go.
You have a wording for that?
What?
You have a wording for how we're supposed to say it?
Approval of amendment, of the budget
Just to
amendment.
approve the amendments as presented in the budget packet.
I make a motion, we approve the amendment as presented in the budget packet.
Any second? There we go. I finally found it on page, oh, I lost it again. No, there it is. Okay. Whew. Any second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion, questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
No.
That was a delayed, yeah. Any opposed, nay?
I was
How about
thinking
that?
of something.
I've heard no nays.
I'm sorry.
Okay, and we have new business, the mowing bid. I will, Dr. Learns, you probably want to say something about this, but let me.
The matter, I have spoke to all there's 4 bidders. 3 of them are very competitive. It's going to be a tough choice. I am confident I can work with any of them, and particularly the 3 bidders that were very close.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say.
That's fine.
This is always a tough one because there's a lot of good people in town that are in this business, and I don't have any intention of hurting anyone over another one, but I know it's a tough one to pick, but I'm confident after speaking with all of them that I can work with any and all.
Yeah, it's never personal. I will report that Mr. Jakes says, yeah, I wondered if that's what you were thinking.
That's what I was going for.
Mr. Jakes says, I will support the low bid from Evans Lawn Care, although he says, I know I cannot vote. And that is all that Brian really had to say about that. So.
Is that,
Separate issue.
Adam, how many employees do you have?
It changes. The thing about my line of work is that, we don't offer health insurance and retirement and stuff like that, so it changes. Typically this year, kept anywhere from 6 to 8 guys. Like I said, we picked up the Columbia Housing Authority, so we're required to have quite a bit more help. As far as having help, I've never had the issue with that. Obviously, everybody's always looking for a job, especially with thousands of people being laid off due to Corona. So I've never had an issue with help, and the quality of help, but
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept low bid of Evans for 43.3 or 43.5, whatever.
43.4.
I lost it, yeah.
I'd like to open it up to discussion if somebody seconds. I still want to have a conversation.
I'll second, and we can have discussion.
So with this, Dr. Lorenz, so across the buildings, the lawn mowing company is responsible for weed eating close to our buildings, or is that something that our maintenance people do?
No, the lawn company is responsible for weed eating around the buildings and the sidewalks.
We have in the past, maintenance went around, sprayed like around the trailers, because them skirts you see, a lot of times weed eaters tear them up. So and I used to do it, spray around that, kill the grass, so they didn't have to weed eat so close. And the skirting costs quite a bit, and there's really no deal why you should have to replace that every year. All you gotta do is kill the grass, maybe 6 inches, 8 inches out, so the weed eaters don't hit it. So that's something we can do to save money and appearances on our trailers. I mean, that's a lot of damage.
And in the past, I have worked with the lawn care business for other spots besides just where he's talking about. So we have some areas that it's just too difficult to mow and it's just as easy to kill. So there are some spots where I would work specifically with whoever the lawn care person is before we start the season and talk about those, or even as we draw up this contract. There's some variables in here, so it's hard to put some exact things on, but there are definitely some things about weed eating and Roundup or weed killing that I'll talk specifically with the winner that you choose.
Okay. And in the past, have the lawn mowing companies taken care of any damaged property that they have done?
In the past, if it's been a window or a door and if they break it, then they buy it. We have had a couple of instances where there's been equipment that we've left out or nets that we didn't get tidied up and the mowing has gotten into them, and when I talk to the lawn care person, if we have some responsibility in what has happened with that, we've split the cost on that. I've also talked to previous lawn care people, if there's something out on the property that is portable, is not normally on that position, for them to take a wide arc around that, whatever that is from this point forward. And I will be speaking specifically with the winner of the bid this evening about that too. So, yes, that's a good question, and typically, if they break it, they buy it. If it's something that we share some responsibility in, I have split the difference on some things in the past.
Okay, I just want to make sure
Yes.
that that's under a good understanding.
Make you nervous, Mr. Evans?
I was just gonna suggest that I could work with you as well on doing the different springs and stuff to prevent being up next to trailer siding that, you see the damage in the pictures. Along the brick buildings, over time, weed or string will be known to deteriorate some of the brick depending on how far down it is. Fences, obviously, the fences that are around the facilities and the football fields and stuff, recommend spraying those to prevent weeds and stuff from binding up into the fence. Then again, elaborate on what Ellen was saying about just cleaning up our school property a little bit better. The cracks and stuff, over by the SEC, some of those areas in the pictures, just need to be sprayed and maintained, and that is something that I would be willing to work.
Something we can pay you to do. Something we can pay you to do.
Well, yes. Or.
I mean, you said something about giving back. I just was curious if that's what you meant.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that those are things that we could either have us do or.
Most of the time, and I don't know when that picture was taken, but most of the time, this was a little bit of an unusual year, but most of the time I have a weed kill crew that knocks down all that parking lot and sidewalk stuff, so it's not necessary. But there are some places around some fences that the lawn care companies helped me in the past, and we'll talk specifically about that with you.
Call a question.
Call a question. Let's move.
I do my job.
Matt has.
Call a question.
Learn it.
I'll recognize Mr. Evans one last time.
Over the previous years, behind the stadiums wasn't getting mowed every week, so when it was getting mowed, it was ended up looking like you should have bailed it probably. Is there any kind of certain reason why that's not getting mowed, or that's something?
That'll just be a Dr. T.
We'll talk about that specifically too, because there's some right-of-way issues out there that we run into, some state right-of-way issues. So sometimes we do it even on the state's right-of-way just because it looks so bad on us, but it's really the state's property. So we'll have to talk specifically about that area. There's an area there. There's an area between Sherwin-Williams and the tennis courts that's always an issue, and there's an area behind the fence over at Beaker. There's 3 or 4 areas that I've come to know quite well over the last.
Okey-doke, I believe Ms. Lance called the question. Oh, we got one more.
I just want to make sure these prices locked in till 2023. It's left off of the spreadsheet. It just says 202.
So the RFP was for 3 years, from 2020 to 2023, and that's what
That's correct. And also, we had talked about, prior to submitting a proposal, we had talked about, it was kind of hard to be able to bid the new grass as far as this complex is concerned. We would just address that, however, and work that out as far as it being a little bit more money or not, you know what I mean?
So just for information, out here, the property that we mow, which is everything you see in grass, plus the oval that the city's asked us to mow for them, and that is in our current bid, but what's not in there is all the grass on this backside and what I'm planning and hoping to grow out here around the front, and then all the islands and stuff. That isn't in our current bid, and the way I worked it out with the previous mower was they mowed it, I oversaw it, they oversaw it. We came to agreement on how much time and money and effort it took to mow that, and then that got added into our normal rotation bid for Spain hour. So the same thing would happen with all this that you see dirt that will eventually come back in grass.
Yeah, will be grass. That makes sense.
Okay.
Recall the question.
Well, there we have it. All those in favor of approving Evans's bid here? Did I have that quite right? Did I have that phrase as you did? Ed? Who was my second? Ellen was my second. Okay, then we are all on the same page. Thank goodness. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys for your time, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Don't forget to give back.
Right. We're gonna try to put in a football field if you want to help out with that. And we will not require mowing.
Okay.
My knowledge.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Smith. Hi.
Oh,
That's you.
You're Sharon Betty.
but you should have got packets for 3 bids on some,
Oh, yeah, last time.
their yeah, I gave you information last meeting, it's just like a bipolar ionization air purifier. They've been tested on with the SARS-CoV-19. I mean, there's quite a few other ones that have as well, but these are, I've used these before. They're basically hassle maintenance free. There's no light bulbs, there's no product put into the air. It basically just positive and negative inside the blower cabinet and traps it and does away with it. So these are also simple enough that you don't have to hire it out to install them. I mean, they're 2 wires and 2 screws. Our maintenance guys can put them in. So these bids are 3 suppliers that we use, all like product, all like quantities. There's no apples and oranges at all. And it would come, I think we'd still get it on CARES money. That's all good to go. So, and they can have them in by the end of the month. Like I said, they're super simple. And there is absolutely no maintenance whatsoever to them. So
And what's the lifetime on them? It's not as if they...
it depends a lot on usage, but like they're 2 little brushes, and they just basically flicker back and forth. But they're on a normal one, you would have to clean it at least once a month. So these all have an arm that spins per cycle, and it breaks all the crust off of those, so it pretty much takes care of its own maintenance. But they have a 3-year warranty on them. So for the cost, I mean, for the cost per replacement in 3 to 5 years, I would say you'd have to look at doing a few of them here and there. Depends on usage. You know, the schools, some they're not going to run sometimes in the summer at all. So it's going to cut down on a lot of that. So.
And considering the efficacy with regard to coronavirus.
Well,
and everything else.
Yeah, flu, pollen,
allergies,
dust, mold. I mean, they pretty much take care of all of it.
Have we made clear to you guys what we're talking about, you at home? What Mr. Smith here is talking about is a bid for air purifiers that would be easy to install in our facilities and that are rated as being particularly good at eliminating some airborne pathogens. So here, for example, SARS-CoV-2 time in chamber 30 minutes, rate of reduction 99.4%. So just to the side here, based on viral titrations, it was determined that at 10 minutes, 84.2% of the virus was inactivated. At 15 minutes, 92.6% of the virus was inactivated. At 30 minutes, 99.4% was inactivated. Using ionization technology. So, I mean, it's about as harmless as it could possibly be.
Yeah, there's a lot of the UV lights, they'll put off like a peroxide particle into the air, some ozone, and some people are actually allergic to ozone. It bothers them smell. There's none of that with this. And this is not like per building, this is per unit. So every unit that has a blower of any type on it will have its own air purifier. So basically, each classroom, each area that has its own blower will be taken care of.
So Matt, what is the cost per item?
Well, we got 3 different choices.
What's the bid total then?
32,163 is our cheapest. That's Johnstone. Crescent was 38,493, and Granger was 48,756.
But they're all the same, like same name brand? and everything?
Exact same brand.
Okay.
Were they exact same brand? I thought you said one of them was not. All right.
And so your proposal for doing this is to keep kids in school?
Yeah, I mean, that's
everybody healthy.
I mean, that's the end goal. I mean, it was when I got the report, when I got the email with the testing. I mean, I instantly I thought it's kind of a no-brainer with CARES money available.
Yeah.
You're not losing anything by doing it.
And then, Dr. Mayor, when is the cutoff for CARES money, do you know?
The 30th.
Oh, okay, yeah, you said that, so we got to get it in.
So it's like 9 days, 9 days.
In order for you to turn that in, we have to have purchased it, or we have to have planned to purchase it? What's
It
the,
has to be, I believe they will take a PO.
okay,
Yeah, well,
Okay.
and when I talked to the commission, she said it had to be paid for, and I don't know what that, I don't know if she meant
well, a PO would pretty well
paid
do
out,
it,
yeah.
I would
So-
think.
Because
Okay.
you have to
Purchase order,
approve the paid bills next month. but they
All
can pay it.
three of these companies with a purchase that large, quantities like that, they were asking for payment up.
Sure.
So,
Matt, when you talked to the commissioner, or the commissioner, whoever you talked to, did they say that we could put this order on to our
on our
application?
existing application,
Okay.
there wouldn't be a reason to do
Oh,
a
that's
new
great.
application.
That is
That's
good.
great, that saves some time.
Great.
Yeah,
Hence the reason,
Matt, did you have one
the low
that you were
bid.
leaning towards too?
Well, I mean, I did
You
just
don't want to
because,
say how public, but.
just because of the legwork they put in, getting me the prices and sizing up what we needed. I mean, it was just a service after the sale or before it, so to speak, but, I was leaning towards Johnstone, just, I mean, the price helps.
Okay.
That's, they have a,
You know more about it than I do.
They're an industry leader, aren't they? I mean, it's a huge
for
team.
items like this, and, yeah, I mean, for, industrial type, commercial type.
Okay.
We need a motion then? We need a motion then?
Yep.
So I move that we approve the low bid that Matt received for Johnstone, I think it is. And then we asked Dr. Bayer to submit this for CARES money underneath our current contract
Second.
application.
Okay. Any further discussion or questions?
No.
All righty.
Good job, Matt.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Yes, thank you, Matt.
Can I get one for my house, Matt?
Feels allergies.
Send
Need
your
a-
number.
And
Need a motion to
bacteria.
adjourn to closed session. Second, who has a second?
I do, second.
Second over here. We need roll call to adjourn into closed session. I'm going to start with.
Aye.
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 No,
All right.
next time shoot me. Scare me to death.
All right.
Good job, daughter.